So, thank you again to welcome. I don't know what I'm saying because my wig about to come off because I'm hot. But yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. I did. I said it. Y'all know this ain't my real hair. I ain't American Indian or nothing like that. All right. Back to being professional. Okay. So today we have Chad with us. Everybody welcome Chad. All right. So before we go to Chad, we're going to be talking about drugs and addictions today. And I pulled up from the CDC some statistics on overdose deaths. And last year, it exceeded 59,000 people. 59,000 people actually died. But the thing, when you read the CDC, they tell you there were so many deaths for overdoses, they can't keep up. It's never current because you have to talk to every state, every county, every coroner's office, how they died. It's just a lot of data, and sometimes it's not accurate because they just don't have it. They don't have the data. Okay, so these are estimates of the deaths that happened last year. Okay, so Chad, why drugs?
An escape.
What were you escaping from?
A lot of underlying issues, problems, stuff. I mean, it had gotten to the point where at the end I had put my family in a position that I didn't want them in, that they didn't deserve, and I didn't want to deal with it. So I'd use to cope with the fact that I was putting them through stuff, but I was putting them through stuff because I was using. So I know it doesn't make sense to somebody who's not using drugs, but in that time, that's what it was.
So how did you get introduced to drugs? Like, how did you even have that as an option? Like, what happened? You just walked down the street one day, went to the 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee, and somebody said, "Hey, you want to use some drugs?" Like, what happened?
It's one of the things where when I was young, I was raised by my grandma, and she was single parent, worked till 8 o'clock at night. She'd drop me off at school, and I'd walk home from school, and as long as I can remember, I was probably about 10 years old when I was taking care of myself. So I would go home, and back then we didn't have cell phones, so I'd just take the phone off the hook. So when she called, I could say I was just on the phone with my friends, and I'd leave, and I'd be home at 7:30. She'd be home at 8. So I was in the street a lot, and I moved from family. Like I got in my teenage years. Right around that time, that's where I got introduced.
What age? What's the age that you remember?
I remember smoking the first time at like 12, 11, somewhere around there, and that was just smoking. That was, and because it was in the street. When you're in the street, you're in the street. Like you're around people. I was 11, but there was people around me that were 18. There were people around me that were 16, 17. So I was always around a different crowd.
So when did you go from smoking to other things, to other drugs? And why?
It was later on. I don't really know when I started. They gave me some pain pills, doctor. And that I realized then that was the drug. It wasn't just the pain pills. It was opiates. That was my drug of choice. Like that's it. It took my emotion away. My ability to have emotion, to cry, to feel bad about something, it took it away. Like it's an emotional thing. So I had been in the pill game because I was still in the streets. I had them. I had a family, but I was still 1 foot in the street, 1 foot out of the street. So I sold pills. I worked and I sold pills, and I was on them because I sold them. And then my mom, she got cancer, and that was like, she was everything, and she got cancer, and I couldn't, 2014, I remember when it was October of 2014, but in November of 2014, they re-regulated the pills they were at class A or class 2 or something, narcotic, where doctors couldn't prescribe them anymore freely, because we used to just take homeless people from shelters and have them go to a pill mill doctor that prescribes pills, don't ask any questions, and they'd get hundreds, and we'd give them $50.
I didn't
and
know that.
They'd go along their business, and we'd have thousands of pills. Like, it was just something that happened. But at that time, they re-regulated it so everybody was, the people I was selling pills to were going through withdrawal, the people I was going through withdrawal, you couldn't find them, they were spiking, they were like, I remember they were like $5 a piece, they went up to 8 and 10. And so a lot of people that I dealt with, they dealt with pills because they were opiates, but they also dealt with heroin. And that's when the real jump happened.
So when your mom got cancer, you went to the next stage.
I went to the next one because I couldn't find the pills. They were too expensive because I wouldn't take all the money from the family. I mean, as far down into my drug use I did, I'd take a lot, but I wouldn't take all, you know? And it got to the point where it was cheaper to use heroin. It was cheaper. It was way cheaper.
To use heroin? See, I don't know anything about drugs, so this is mind blowing.
It was a lot cheaper to do heroin than it was to take a pill. A pill is one pill, and if you have an addiction or if you take opiates, it may not do anything. It may not even take away your headache. You know what I'm saying? But it's $10. They got you $10 a piece. But you can go and get $10 worth of heroin, and it would last a person that, you know, uses off and on a whole day, maybe 2 days. Yep.
Wow. So did you ever OD while you were out there?
I tried.
Wait a minute, you tried to OD? Explain that.
I thought I was going through, for a long time I thought I was going through depression. Like I'd say, I'm using it, like syrup is the same thing. People talk about syrup and drink and stuff like that, but I would say I'm using it because I'm depressed and it helps me deal with my depression. It helps me deal with it. But I was depressed because I was using it. I didn't realize that till later, but I would keep it. The more I would use it for my depression, the further in depression I'd get. And it got to the point where I knew what I was doing to them. I knew it. I knew what I was doing and I couldn't stop. The withdrawals were so bad that I needed help getting off. But I'd go to a rehab and they'd give me 8 days and kick me right back on the street. I still had post-withdrawal syndrome. I'd still feel like I needed to do it. So why
only 8 days?
That's the detox process that they have in a lot of counties it's a 7 to 14 day detox, and that's it. It's because I would go to a state funded detox because we couldn't pay $20,000 for a rehab facility. So we go to a state funded. They put you and they give you Suboxone to get off, which is a whole nother story. But it's pretty much like bathing in dirty water. Like you're using a drug to get off of another drug that gives you a withdrawal, like the drug that you were just on. So I would get out, my Suboxone would stop, I'd still be withdrawn, I'd go right back to it. But I got to a point where I knew what I was doing to him, and I couldn't deal with that myself. I knew my mom had passed away. I had went into like a spiral. I was starting to sell heroin and use heroin, and it got up to, there were times, I'm glad I got arrested, because there were times where I tried to OD, and then there was times where I remember when I got arrested, I was waiting on our income tax, and I was going to buy 6 grams of black tar heroin, and it's a lot.
All right, stop right there. I want to hear from you. How did it make you feel when you saw your dad like that?
Well, at first I didn't know like what to expect and everything. Like once you find out that that's what he's really doing, that's what, it's just kind of all surprising. So I didn't know what to do. So I went to my mom and we had a very long talk, and then he brought us, he went into the talk with us and we just talked about everything. And I had to it was kind of painful. I'm not gonna lie, it was very painful because I knew that, I knew drugs was a bad thing, and especially heroin, and I didn't know that that's what he was going through, and it made me sad because he was going through that, and I didn't know why at the time, and so I was just, very...
Wow, you're very strong to be able to say that at 14. I don't know what I would have done if one of my parents. Now I want to hear from the wife that had me crying. Why? My hat is off to you for staying. But I want you to talk to that wife that is going through what you guys went through. Why did you stay?
Oh God. I mean, aside from the fact that I knew what he was before the addiction, I mean, that was really what I was trying to get back, was who he was before that. Because I knew that it was there, and you could see it in between, like, the sober moments, in between the withdrawals, in between all that stuff. You could see it. It'd come through every now and again. But my big thing was, I wanted to know what was going on inside his head, because I knew it wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything, the kids didn't do anything, but I wanted to know what caused it so that I could tell them, this is why, this is what happened, it's not you. It's not because, her especially, that was her big thing. She really thought we did something wrong because he wasn't with us, he was out doing other stuff. So, and he would rather be on the streets, drug, and this and that, than in the house with us. And it was just, she didn't get it. You know what I mean? And they were little, it was hard. But my big thing was just to figure it out. I'd go and sit through NA meetings that I knew he thought were absolute crap, but I wanted to know. So I'd hear other addicts talk and tell their truth so that I could figure out, okay, maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe this is how it's happening. Maybe this is, you know what I mean? To kind of put it, I've got notebooks and notebooks of notes from these NA meetings that he wasn't even sober for half the time, but it was, I got something out of it. So when he did go and he did get locked up and he did go through and come out clean and all that, I could be like, you know what, I got it. I know what you know now because I had all this.
She went back to school. She went back to school to be a substance abuse counselor so she could figure out what was going on in my mind.
So
Chad, I heard you,
excuse me.
I heard you say that when you was doing the drugs, it was because you had depression. So was one drug causing you to cope with the other thing that was going on with you emotionally?
No,
So a coping mechanism
it's
for you?
a coping, Megan. I did it to cope overall. I think the program that I went through, it helped me realize what my emotions really are. So I was sad about my mom dying, but it wasn't quite depression. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I would use, because I was sad and I didn't want to feel the sadness, I didn't want to think about it, I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to
numb you.
I wanted numbness, that's it. And I would use, but then I would fall into a depression, like I'm worthless, all those signs of depressions, all that. And then I'd think, oh, I'm going to use it because I'm feeling this type of way. So I'm going to use again. Well, all it was a circle, but you have to break that. I didn't know. I just, that was my main excuse is going through depression. It helps me with ADHD. I mean, there was a lot of different excuses, but my main one was it helps me with my depression. But it was causing my depression because I'm not depressed. Once I got clean, I'm not depressed.
So how did you get clean? Let's fast forward. So what was the breaking point to say, this is it, I'm a family man, I'm getting off of these drugs? What was your breaking point?
Okay, so one, I got arrested. I got pulled over and I got arrested. And then they charged me, they offered me a lot of time at first. And so it kind of scared me a little bit. And then I went to jail. I was in jail in and out for, like 2 or 3 months. I was going in and out because I kept failing UAs and it was...
What's a UA for those that don't know?
It's a urine analysis. It's a drug test. And on probation, they have to sit and watch you take it. So there's no way to
Wow.
But it was two things. It was I got arrested. And it was something that she kept telling me, Crystal, my wife, she kept telling me over and over. She knew, she's like, I know you're going to die from this. Like, I've already cried about it. I've already made arrangements. Like, I've figured out where, what I'm going to do with you, how I'm going to tell your family. I know that you're going to die. I know you're going to overdose. It's just a matter of time when. I've already prepared what I'm going to say to the kids. And then when I got out, I failed a couple UAs from my probation and I went straight to my probation. I knew that if I could get off of it, I'd be okay. I had to do it. Like it wasn't an option at this point. And I thought they were going to give me 3 months or, 6 months. I went to my probation officer and I said, I need help getting off of it. I just need help getting off. Once I get off, I'll be fine. She sent me away for a year. Yeah, I was gone for a year, and in jail throughout that time, I went in high. You know what I mean? Just being honest, I went in high. But I knew that this was it, I was done. I have to find another way. And a lot of classes, a lot of stuff happened through that year I was gone, and now I'm not saying I'm okay. You know, I don't think about drugs, but I talk to a lot of people still, and I deal with a lot of people who they still, my brother for instance, but man, I just want to get high. And I'm like, the consequences, I mean, you gotta.
So did you have to change your friends? Did you have to change your
Yes.
environment?
Changed I like I said, I always had one foot in the streets and one foot out of the streets. I had to step out. I mean, nobody came to me when I was locked up. Nobody came and put money on my books. Nobody came and
Say it again.
yeah, nobody wrote me. I mean, I even went as far as, I mean, it's pretty stupid, but I was high at the time. I gave my drug dealer my CID number so they could send me mail. I got, you know what I mean, all this stuff like that. All the people that I messed with, and when I was gone, I was gone. And I was gone for a year. I don't want to mess with them. You know what I mean? If I just don't want to be around it, you just remove yourself from that environment. You don't have to deal with it. I don't have to deal with anybody asking me to use drugs. I don't have to deal with anybody. Like if somebody at work, because you know, there's always drugs. There's always drugs. I work in a restaurant industry. There's always drugs. But I let it be known right off the bat, I don't mess with it. Sorry. You know what I mean? And
we got to stop because we can go all night with this. We're going to go to the street. All right, we're out here. Getting ready to go in to record, and we can't right away because there was an emergency inside. Someone got sick. That's on their detox program. So we're out here waiting to film, praying that everyone is okay inside. Yep, it's real. The opioid addiction and overdose in this country is real. Tell us, like, how do you handle when someone comes in here, they're entering into your detox program, and how do you handle them wanting that drug and you have to tell them no?
Okay, so we give our clients Suboxone to help with their withdrawal symptoms. So the Suboxone eases. It doesn't completely take the withdrawal symptoms away, but it does ease all of the withdrawal symptoms. So it's tolerable for them to come off of the drug.
Okay, so it's not, no one's ever gotten to the point where they can't handle the withdrawal because of the medication that you give them.
Well, there are people that leave. There are people that leave who say they cannot handle it. So we've had lots of people.
So they can leave if they want. This
Yes.
is not.
This is
not
not
a
all
lockdown.
voluntary.
Make that notation. This
Yes.
is not a jail.
No, it's not. Not a jail.
This is a free will.
And then it's something that you also had said that when you're looking at family members, maybe older family members that are using 5 or 6 different doctors. And you're looking at their prescriptions and they have the same prescription, but it's written by different doctors. You start, family members can also take a look at that. But the bottom line to it is, does your family member want to come here, or are you guys pushing for them to come here? There's a big difference.
So I can't bring someone here. I can't check them in.
No.
It has to be voluntary.
They need to want to come because they've seen that their life is topsy-turvy and they want to change. They want to learn how to change if they don't know how to change. Okay. Family members a lot of times say, oh, they really need to be here. Well, if they don't want to be here, they can walk out the door.
Wow. So how many times do you let them? Do you keep like a log to say Magnolia? I came and checked myself in. And I'm like, I really want help. I'm here. Hoorah. I'm excited.
It's never like that. It's never like that.
All right. And I'm just I'm ready to get clean. It's 2018. I'm gonna be clean in 2018.
What have
Oh,
you
they're
been
right.
using?
All right, so
What have you been using?
say I was using heroin.
Okay.
Okay, which I'm not. But say I was, and I said I'm ready for it. I'm gonna go through your program. I made it through
we're gonna do
7 or 8
screening.
days.
We're gonna do screening on you first.
Okay, and I go through your program, but then I leave,
Uh-huh.
and I go back to the same neighborhood.
Okay.
Same house, same friends.
Okay,
And I get right back into the same cycle again.
okay.
And I come back. I'm back! I want to be clean. Do you keep a log of names to say, okay, this person is a repeat?
Well, it's not really, I mean, it is a log. It's a report in the,
Yes.
in our system.
Okay.
And we have a lot of return clients.
And you let them come back.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yes.
absolutely. We're not here
so
to,
it's not like a...
we're not here to judge them. We're here to help them. We're not here to judge them. We're here to help them.
Wow.
But you are gonna go on a wait list because there are other people. There are other people that came same time you did, but you were able to get the bed, and so now we still have to make sure that they get an opportunity to.